Well, a lot of historians of science have tried to explain what gave rise to the scientific revolution. They've asked there's a famous, let me just start over on that. There's a famous historian of science, Joseph Needham, who was himself a Marxist in his worldview, who asked a famous question about the origin of modern science. And the question was, why there and why then? We've had great civilizations. The Chinese made gunpowder and had a very sophisticated civilization. You go back to the ancient Egyptians. You have the Romans had their aqueducts and their roads. In Muslim countries, you had development of mathematics, but you don't see this systematic approach to interrogating nature. The systematic methods for investigating nature develop until this period of the scientific revolution. I mean, we could also talk about the Greeks, but there were many things about the Greek way of philosophizing about nature that actually held back empirical investigation. And so Needham was very curious, well, why in Western Europe? Why then in the 1500s, 1600s, 1700s? And the answer that he and numerous other historians have come to is that the difference that made the difference was the worldview. That there was something about the Judeo-Christian way of thinking that inspired the scientific investigation of nature. Rodney Stark's title captures some of that. He says, "For the glory of God." The scientists were motivated to study what they believed were the works of God to bring glory to him. But that's really only part of it. There were other assumptions that were really part of a biblical worldview, one of which was that nature is intelligible. It could be understood because our minds are made in the image of the same mind who made the rational order in nature that we're studying. And that was one of the reasons that mathematics was so prized by Newton and Kepler and others, that they believed that the language of nature was mathematical and that that was an expression of the divine mind.